they can scout bushes with their W. Your W, if it lights up, it means that you can use it, the slow. So it means that someone is here. So even if you don't have vision, you can use your W to scout bushes. But the thing is, you can actually scout bushes even when your W is down by spamming it, even if it's on cooldown, and looking at the message. If someone is in the bush, it will say this ability is on cooldown. And if no one is in the bush that you're scouting, it will say you cannot cast that right now. So that's a nice trick that even the best Tryndamere players on the server didn't know. I'm Chaddouk, I'm a Tryndamere OTP playing on the EU West, which masters with a 100% win rate with Tryndamere. I started playing the game in season 7. I like to represent league teams as, with the hand, like we're 5 players moving together and we're connected. So you could kind of represent it with the hand. And the funny thing is, if you look at all the fingers, if you move one, it's gonna affect another. But if you move the thumb is the only independent one. And I feel like when I play Tryndamere, I'm a thumb. I'd say that his easiest matchups, I instantly think of Garen and I think of Kayle as well. Why? Garen, you have you have a lot of very easy interactions for Tryndamere. Like you can cancel his passive healing by using W. You don't even need to deal damage to him, but if you solo him W, he's into combat. You can buffer your auto E away on his Q. So even if you're silenced, you can still auto and E away. He cannot silence your ultimate, and you're just gonna kind of stat check him. I think yeah, the biggest answer is stat check. And Kayle is another great example. Her ultimate makes her unkillable for 2.5 seconds, but your ultimate makes you unkillable for 5 seconds, basically. And early on, you have more damage, more stats, etc. So it's a very easy matchup to abuse.
Now, most people think Malphite is the biggest counter to Tryndamere, but Chaddouk thinks this is not the case and that Malphite is actually a very easy matchup. And it might be an unpopular opinion, since on paper Malphite, his E counters Tryndamere, has armor and reduces attack speed. But the thing is, with short trades, you can out-sustain and play the map better. Now here are the real counters.
Of course, ranged top laners, like a really good Vayne player, a really good Teemo player. Nasus is also another one. People don't really realize it, but you're gonna win early game a lot, but then later on he gets his W on a very short cooldown. He gets Frozen Heart, and then even if he's 0 and 8, you're 8 and 0, you're never gonna win again.
Tryndamere has 2 rune page setups. One for the easier matchups going with Grasp, Demolish, Second Wind, Revitalize, together with a Doran Shield, and for the second tree Alessa tree, and last stand with attack speed shards. With this build, you are focusing on shorter trades and getting as many plates as humanly possible. And then there is the Rune page for the harder, more range type of matchups, going with the Fleet Footwork, so you get extra HP and sustain for free when hitting minions with Absorb Life, Alessa tree, Last Stand with Second Wind and Revitalize. Tryndamere, his early game is really strong. At level 1, he has free crits, and with his Q having infinite sustain, he can take any trade. Here is how it works.
I like this sentence actually that I tend to say pretty often. The difference between a bad and a good situation with Trynd is the amount of Qs you need to press. So yeah, you're just gonna go from level 1. Now that you go Grasp, most likely, or maybe Fleet, or you're just gonna trade whenever you have your Grasp up, and that's it. You just trade when you have Grasp, go for these short trades, try to get level 2 not too late, and then you press Q almost on CD. You can keep your Fury up if you want to go for some crits if you're already high in HP, etc. So there's a lot of kind of Fury management that I cannot just play in. There's a lot of feeling and practice to it. But most likely, if you want to default to something, default to pressing your Q on CD, spam it, and you're just gonna out sustain on any matchup. Then at level 3, you actually don't want to put a point in your W. You want to put your third point in your Q again, because the difference of healing between Q level 1 and Q level 2 is pretty insane. It's really big, it's really huge. So Tryndamere players take their W at level 4, and then your next spike after level 4 would be level 6 basically. Tryndamere used to be a champion that can really abuse that level 6 and dive instantly because he had lethal tempo. He would have enough damage to go for these all-ins. Now it's not really the case. I tend to actually use my ultimate pretty rarely in the early game, and yeah, you want to play off good bases. Something important about Tryndamere is the fact that you don't have TP. You need to go Ghost. It's so important, or you're gonna get kited so easily. So you have this kind of TP disadvantage, but you fix that problem by having that infinite sustain.
With Tryndamere, you need Ghost over TP, and the reason is that you can out-sustain the enemy laner. This way, you can always base whenever you have set the wave in your favor, so whenever you base, you can buy spikes since you are just a little wall of damage. Your spikes like early Tiamat, early Hydra, T2 boots, Zeal really help elevate Tryndamere into mid-game and making him unstoppable. Hence wave management is really important on Tryndamere, and that's the reason you don't go TP.
It kinda depends. Usually, I mean, you're supposed to have a lead from early game. If you don't have a lead from early game, it's gonna get really tough. Tryndamere is a champion that needs to get ahead. I mean, he has all the tools to get ahead. He also needs to, because if you don't have more impact than your opponent in side lane, you're gonna be pretty useless. So the idea is to be stronger, and then you have different options. Yes, of course, you're a split pusher. You're gonna go in side lane, but then you need to think about, can I actually go and straight up dive my opponent? This is gonna be pretty rare these days, but it can still happen. So in that case, you just do it. If you cannot, okay, can I just bring a big wave under turret and go for demolish procs? If the answer yes, maybe you do that. And if you cannot do either, let's say you're facing a Poppy, you're 3-0, you have 10 CS per minute, but it's Poppy, you cannot just dive her from full HP, then you bring her in side lane, you pin her, you bring her side, she's gonna have to match, and then you ult rotate and you move on the map. And you look for something. It could be vision, it could be a jungle camp, it could be a flank on a team fight. Yeah, it could be different options, different situations, but you cannot really be the one making plays by yourself. So what you want to do is look at the next objective. So if we're talking mid game, we're talking like 12 minutes plus. So there's going to be Drakes, there's going to be Herald, and you need to think about that next objective. Can we play it as a team, and how can I help my team as much as possible as Tryndamere? As I said, most of the time it's going to be push side lane, bring someone there, and actually ult rotate and go to the fight.
The time where Tryndamere could just be on a side lane and dive his opponent with Lidl, Tempo, Kraken, Slayer, and Avori is gone now. So you are more of a pressure champion and a space creator who is going to create space and try to use it to its best. Now, you are going to look for flanks or for CC from your team, because by yourself it will be very hard to stay on top of champions, since they also nerfed Ghost from a 15-second duration to 10 seconds. Now, what about the late game?
But the thing is, in late game, people have bought GAs, people have bought Zonias, stopwatches, etc. So these are really good tools to actually tempo Tryndamere's ultimate. And also, by that time, people have enough damage to make Tryndamere use his ult really fast, really quickly, because you don't build defensive stats. You're gonna only have HP, but now like Caitlyn, like 2 auto attacks from Caitlyn or from Jhin, or these champions that are really strong right now, or Draven, and you have to use ult. And the thing is, he had to use ult pretty fast, but he also didn't have much damage. But now, with the ADC items being really strong, I mean, by the time these videos goes live, I think they would have nerfed Infinity Edge from 50% extra crit damage to 40%. But still, he now has enough damage to actually be a threat in late game. That's why I think like Tryndamere right now is one of the best champions in top lane, because he doesn't have like a real weakness. He's strong in early, he's strong in mid game, and he's strong in late game as well. So you're gonna do the same thing, bring pressure on side lane, try to ult rotate, try to play on your space. Once you have IE as a third item, you're gonna really strong, and then fourth item, you're gonna go for an armor pen item, and this is also really strong spike. And then as a fifth item, you can decide if you wanna, if the game calls for split push, you can go Hull Breaker. If the game calls for team fights, you can go, maybe it can be Scimitar if there's some hard CC that you want to avoid. It can be sometimes even by Zonias on Tryndamere if there's a Karthus ultimate that I'm scared of. You can buy Blade of the Rune King to win your 1v1 on side lane. So yeah, it's gonna be the same thing. Look for flanks, look for setup from your team, play pressure. So the game plan, well, pretty much it's gonna be win my early game. I like to try to win it solo, like even 1v2, try to apply pressure, bring the jungler there. So I give a lot of space and time to my team. You know, like bot lane is pretty overpowered. It's 2 champions, it's 40% of a team. So I'd rather have my jungler play there than play top side. So I try to, I need to win my early game, and then in mid game, I would try to be the stronger thumb, you know, like as I told you, I would like to be the stronger independent member and push on that, create pressure and apply pressure and use that pressure for something. Because there's no point in just like, if you're applying pressure on bot lane, but your team is base, like they're not going to do anything from it, and they can come as 3 on you and try to kill you, and it won't cost enemy team anything. But if they come as 3 on you bot lane, but Nash is on the map and your team is on the map, now maybe your team can get Nash from it. So I try to think, is my team independent? If they're independent, I would try to give them space as much as possible. So independent means they have engaged, they have disengaged, they have damage, they're doing pretty good, they can get vision. If they're not, if I don't feel like they're independent and they give me vibes that they're gonna like not be able to use my pressure, well, I still apply that pressure and then look to rotate and join them and create number advantages. But always create a 5v4, 4v3, etc. by bringing someone on side lane and rotating. And if I can bring that someone on side lane and just ignore him and just take the turret or go for a dive, etc., well, of course I would do it, but that's pretty rare. That's the dream, of course, that's the goal. But in the current state of the game and at higher elo, where people actually buy armor really early into Tryndamere, which is the right thing to do, well then it's pretty hard. So you're more of a pressure creator, space creator, and that will be my plan. Like, get a lead so I can actually be the one pushing the waves and applying pressure to bring number advantages to my team.
When late game has arrived, you either look for objectives, push side lanes while looking for flanks, or try to team fight. Wherever you are going to team fight, it is really important as Tryndamere to have your summoners, Flash and Ghost, or let's say you're facing Jin, you E on him, he is going to crit on you and run fast away. Jump on Tristana and she will jump away, and that's why having your summoners is really important for team fights as Tryndamere, since he can easily be kited late game, and the ideal scenario is that you join a fight midway in whenever the team enemy has already exhausted a lot of their cooldowns. Now here is one more secret about Tryndamere